It's Mike Brenner. We're doing a special MITech TV segment, and I must admit, this is also a partner announcement. So I'm not an unbiased journalist on this one. I'm involved in this. But we have with us Stephen Borden from Eleusis Partners. And he has a new company that's working with a compounding pharmacy to offer wellness centers, weight loss clinics, doctors' offices, healthcare institutions, something called semaglutide, and I'm going to try to do the second one, Tirzepatide. How does that pronounce, Steve?
You got it. Tirzepatide.
Tirzepatide, thank you. Which boils down to something called GLP-1s, so people in the industry will know what that means. It's actually an injectable drug that has helped a lot of people reduce their weight significantly, and you see it on TV advertised on various trade names. Same principle. But in this case, it's a whole lot cheaper, right, Steve? Let's talk about that. So we're going to be working with you guys now. We'll provide this to information to various, yeah, as I said, clinics, doctors' offices, anything along those lines that offers this product. We won't go into their trade names, but you've seen them all on TV. The Right now we're focused on getting clinics lined up, but coming down the pike is some other stuff, and let's talk a little bit about that, Steve. So you've got these two GLP-1s and these major pharmaceutical companies charge a whole lot for that, and in your case or in our case, not so much, right? We're going to work with these folks.
Yeah, well, so basically what we decided to do is the compound pharmacy purchased the equipment to start producing and manufacturing a semaglutide. It costs a significant amount of money to purchase the equipment. We've been manufacturing and producing compounded semaglutide and tirzepatide, which is basically, to keep it simple, Ozempic, excuse me. So what we decided to do as a compound pharmacy is we're going to be offering clinics, wellness centers, and the like discounted prices to the point where we want to buy market share. We want to offer them a price that's much better than they're currently paying, and that way they save a lot of money and or make more money, and we get our product on the street quicker.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that. So the pharmacy has you guys have purchased the equipment and you've begun to manufacture that here in this country. And Let's talk a little bit. People may not be familiar with compound pharmacies. Now, people in the industry would, but maybe the average folks aren't. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's basically manufacturing pharmaceutical drugs, but a compound pharmacy has the ability to mix drugs and mix the prescriptions to a point where they're still under the FDA guidelines and they can be sold. So with the high demand for Ozempic and the fact that it was put on the FDA list as a shortage, I mean, a shortage of the drug, the compound pharmacies were then allowed to, quote, start producing the semaglutide and tirzepatide. So based on supply and demand, compound pharmacies started producing semaglutide and tirzepatide. And as the production has increased, the price has been coming down. So we're very well aware of this, whereas our strategy is to undercut the competition and buy market share. So we're going to give everybody a much better price. So compound pharmacies have the ability to produce pharmaceutical drugs, but there are some limitations. But in this particular case, because the GLP-1s, the semaglutides and tirzepatides, are on the FDA shortage list, we're now in the position to start producing those drugs and distribute them. And our job with Eleusis is, as a distributor, we are distributing these now through various outlets and representatives and through a partnership with you to clinics and or wellness centers or any entity that is currently utilizing these drugs for their patients.
I've heard you describe this as a race to the bottom. Give us some more detail on that, if you will.
Well, it's all about supply and demand. And when the supply was through the roof and demand was through the roof, excuse me, and supply is very low, that's when the compound pharmacy started basically producing the semaglutides and the tirzepatides. So there's other pharmacies coming on board. I know several that have just bought the equipment recently and they're going to start producing. So more product coming into market, which means a lower price. So we know this is happening. So which is why we decided to approach a clinic, let us ask them to see their invoices, and we'll give them a much better price. We'll give them a quote, give them a much better price if they accept our pricing, which we believe they will, because it's something that you really can't say no to. We're trying to undercut the competition. That's our objective. So once we get an agreement in place and they agree to our pricing, they'll sign up with us and they'll be direct to our pharmacy. So their ordering will be direct with no middleman, delivery same day or next day to the clinics.
And again, this is you see them advertised on TV. They talk about maybe 20% weight reduction. What, over a year or so? Is that right, Steve? Is that the time frame or what?
Everyone's different. All people are different, and all their symptoms can be a little bit different. So every particular script that a doctor writes, every person is different. But it's going to take. It's not going to happen overnight, but it happens quickly. And you've seen celebrities and everybody else out there using this stuff, and the results are dramatic. But again, there may be some side effects, which is a given. However, in a very short period of time, you're going to see dramatic results. That's what everyone has been saying. That's been taking it.
Let's talk about the GLP-1. Is you called it a peptide when you were briefing me on this, and just so people understand what that is and what that does, could you go into a little more detail?
Well, it's a glucagon. It's GLP is glucagon-like peptide. That's what GLP stands for. And Ozempic is a GLP-1, just to give you an example. So it's that simple.
Ah, okay.
It's a hormone is what it is. It's a GLP-1 is a naturally occurring hormone that you produce when you eat, is basically what that boils down to. There's the simple explanation. So when we say GLP-1s, we're referring to Ozempic, semaglutides, Tirzepatides, and so forth. It's pretty much all commingled in the same conversation to make it easier for people to understand.
So I understand that the company is going to have a telehealth website. Tell us a little bit about that, if you could.
Yeah, so that's coming in the very near future. So initially, right now, we're trying to find directors and people that run wellness clinics and so forth that are given the jab. And again, we'll provide a much better price. On the other side, we are going to have a dedicated telehealth website specifically for the weight loss drugs. So any consumer, when they find one of our ads or a banner ad that we may have out there or on the MIT website, they would click on that. They go direct to our telehealth site, whereas they would fill out a form. They would have an appointment with a doctor, do a telehealth visit with the doctor. And then once the doctor agrees that the weight loss drugs are proper for that patient, they would receive a prescription through us, through our telehealth site, which would be automatically filled. And they would have the medicines on their doorstep the next morning. So,
So what has been happening with prices? I know when these drugs first came out, I was hearing prices for self-pay of like $1,100, $1,200 a month. Where are we now on that?
It still is up at that high. It's still that high, depending on who you're talking to. But again, if you look around and do some homework, you'll start seeing the prices are all being adjusted. As an example, we have under between 250 and 300 clinics we're now, quotes, selling to, providing the medicine to. Each one of them has a different price. So what we're doing is we're looking at your pricing and basically making you a better offer. So everybody's a little bit different. Those prices, as they continue to drop, we'll continue to work with our clients and still give them the best price.
And of course, the right now we're focused on getting more clinics signed up. And then hopefully by the first of the year, we'll have the telehealth site signed up where consumers like Matt Roush could just go. And the prices will be considerably less than that $1,200 you quoted. Could be as low as $200 or $300 a month. But again, that depends on the clinic and what they're selling it for and that sort of thing. Right? Did I get that right, Steve? I don't want to misquote it.
Well, the price is all going to be different depending on where you go. And if you go into a clinic, you're going to pay X price. If you walk out of a cosmetic surgery center and they give you a prescription for it, you're going to pay a lot more. It just depends on how it's being received by the patient. Meaning if you're getting a jab, if you're getting a prescription to go buy it, and it's just, there's some variables there, but the prices are still very high. And if you do some comparisons on simple Google search, you'll discover that you're going to see a lot of similar prices all in the same range. We're just trying to beat everybody.
So we're coming down towards the end here. How can people get more information about this miracle drug?
Well, Mike, all they'll have to do is go back to your website, click on the banner ad talking about the GLP-1s, wind up at a landing page. They'll be able to contact both you and I, and we'll get back to them immediately and see if we can help them out.